Hello and welcome to the McDonald's Hendricks County Sports Show on audiosportsonline.net. Upcoming on this episode, we'll speak to head coach Steve Lynch of the Brownsburg High School Bulldogs, and we're also planning on speaking to head groundskeeper Evan Buckley, and also take a look around Hendricks County and all the high school sports that are now in season. Today's show is brought to you by your Brownsburg McDonald's. You can try these tasty holiday treats during the month of December. You can try a peppermint mocha, a milder blend of espresso, steamed milk, peppermint, and dark chocolate syrup, topped with whipped cream and chocolate drizzle. Available for a limited time, medium only $2.99. And the McRib is back, a hot sandwich that has a balanced blend of caramelized bread, seasoned pork, McDonald's signature McRib sauce, a sweet, smoky, tangy Western barbecue-style sauce, dill pickles, and mild, fresh-slivered onions, now only $2.79. Both are available at your two Brownsburg McDonald's on Main Street next to Marsh and off of just off Interstate I-74. Today is Wednesday, December 18th. From the State Route 267 McDonald's in Brownsburg, this is the Hendricks County Sports Show. I'm your host, JP Sinclair, and I'm joined again by Brownsburg head basketball coach Steve Lynch. How you doing today, Coach?
Great, JP. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. And also Chris Worley, who is a well-known staple of Brownsburg basketball and football commentary. So let's get right into it today, Coach. I mean, when we spoke last, your team only had one loss on the season, and that was number one ranked Carmel. And here it is a little bit later, and that's still your only loss. So that's got to be a nice feeling for you and your team.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just trying to go through and evaluate things every day and feel like we have a lot of things in, but so many little things we're not doing well, and be able to be at this point, be 4-1, and kind of reinforce some of the positives, and yet know we have a lot of work to do. I think it's just put us in a pretty good mindset in terms of teaching and the kids being willing to learn. And so at this point, again, a lot of things that we need to work on, but very happy with the way the team's played so far.
Your team came away with a very solid victory against Fishers, 1-5. That was a 60-45 victory for your team. Junior DoorDash Mavunga had a very solid outing for your team. I mean, the stat line was pretty incredible. 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. I mean, I look at that stat line, and I wish I could have him for my fantasy basketball team.
Oh, absolutely. We thought we played really well. I thought Fishers coming in had just played a brutal schedule. I think our schedule's hard, and with the Sagrins just coming out, I think they have the third toughest strength of schedule in the state. And I thought our kids just really stepped up on a conference game, played very well. We had really good energy and really good balance. I mean, you mentioned Jordash, but I thought we had a lot of guys play well, and in the end, I thought we really defended and took them out of a lot of things that really allowed us in the second half to kind of pull away.
Now that you've gotten to know Jordash a little bit, obviously a very, very big-time family in the staple of the Brownsburg community. You look at his older brother, had some not necessarily full-time game action, but he had looks from the NBA. His sister was a Miss Indiana High School. Do you feel like he's trying to – does he put any kind of extra pressure on himself to live up those kind of expectations within the family?
Oh, I don't know. I've heard a lot of different things from people who've tried to make those observations. I think Jordash, like any young man, is just finding out who he is. And, we talk a lot about, my wife yells at me, she goes, "You just don't get it," or somebody will say, "He gets it," and it's hard to quantify what it is, but I think a lot of it is he's kind of growing into who he is, and I think he's understanding how to play the game, and I'm very happy that he's trying to figure out what we want as a coaching staff. And so, in terms of all those things, it's just really going well for him because I think he's really starting to put a lot of those things in perspective.
After trailing in that first quarter in that Fishers game, the team had a very good defensive second quarter, and the third quarter seemed like the perimeter really got locked down. Did you make any adjustments on the outside with guys like Darian Ringo and Trevor Lucas?
Yeah, I thought the guys just did a really nice job of making those adjustments on their own. I think the one thing we've tried to evaluate is our scouting, and I don't feel like we're overcomplicating our scouting reports, but we are picking 2 to 3 things that are must things that have to happen for us to win. And I think, a big thing in our last couple games, we've really limited teams that like to get up and down the floor and play a really fast pace. We're eliminating some transition opportunities, and we're taking away second and third opportunities on the offensive glass. when you take a team like Fishers who can score 70, 80 points in a ball game and kind of limit those opportunities, again, I think you make scoring hard, and offensive basketball is such a, confidence. You make your first couple shots, and it seems like that rim grows, and you miss your
Just
first
a little
couple,
bit bigger each shot,
it shrinks, and so I think we've been able to do a good job of just taking away easy scoring opportunities from our last couple opponents. And I think that's been the biggest thing for our team is, we've kind of grown some confidence with our defense, but we're making things a little bit harder, and I'm just really proud that the kids have bought into that.
You talked about it in that Fishers game. You limited them to 0 transition points in the second half. Was that really a point of emphasis coming out of the halftime locker room?
I think it was going into the game. We really wanted to limit those things. I think, we've played better offensively in the second half. We've not turned the ball over, particularly in the Pike game. We did not turn the ball over a lot in the second half, and so we're not giving our opponents a lot of those opportunities. So it's a combination. I think we're doing well defensively. I think we're adjusting as the game goes along, and at the same time, I think the better we play offensively, the less we put ourselves in that position where we're favorably giving the ball to the other team and putting ourselves in a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1 situation.
You also had a very close game against another very tough conference foe. It was your team's first road game of the season. That was against HCC rival Zionsville, but you limited Zionsville to only 39 points. So once again, it was the defense that really stepped up for your team.
Yeah, I thought that pace of play was just a lot slower. I mean, that game kind of drug along, and the halftime scoring was pretty slow, but I thought we were defending very well, and we had managed to find a way to kind of crack their zone. They did a great job defending. I thought, each team was really kind of trying to figure out how to score the basketball, and so we were both probably offensively challenged as much as facing great defenses, but it was well played. What a great environment. The Zionsville fans, for a while it was like kids couldn't really hear our staff, and so what a great environment and great atmosphere to play in.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, that was a team that scored 60 points in their first victory over Western Boone. So definitely a great defensive effort to hold that team to 39 points. And you spoke about it. Zionsville plays that tough and that rapacious zone. Did you work on anything in practice to be more patient in the offensive execution for the team?
That would be an area that, we've got kind of thrown everything in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. We've got every play and every set and everything that we want to eventually run in. But I don't think we're executing any of it very well. And so I think, the opportunity to work on little things and, running offense where, hey, I want to get the ball in the short corner, I want to get the ball in the high post, or I want 2-ball reversals and I want to look at this. Where we can pick specific things for the kids to focus on. I think our understanding of what we want is getting better. And I think that will allow us maybe show a little bit better execution in games, maybe be a little bit more patient or see the timing. I think the one thing about zone offense is, there's a lot of timing involved, when the ball gets rotated, who's cutting when and where, and how to fill gaps and find opportunities, because as the zone shift, those gaps close up. So, again, I just think time on the court has allowed us maybe opportunity to see it a little bit better.
And when it comes to playing against the zone, being able to hit the outside shot when you do have that opportunity is such a key to trying to beat it. So, Junior Jack Mann for Zionsville was a thorn in the sides of the team all night long, especially from long range. How do you, going into that game, as the game was going along, you're seeing him hitting down that outside shot. How did you try and slow down a shooter like that when they have it going?
I think that was just, adjustment that we had to continue making the game with Derek Smits and his cousin playing. When you have that much size on the court, I think our initial scheme or scout was we really had to make sure we did a great job on our interior defense, that we would, I call it choking the post or jumping to the post, where you make sure that post guy's surrounded or feel like he's swarmed, and we paid a lot of attention to their interior play. I thought as the game went along, we had to make sure we knew where he was at, and at the same time, be able to hold them to 39 points. Sometimes you have to pick your poison, so to speak, and I thought our guys did a great job with our interior defense. In the first game, I thought they did an outstanding job of just getting underneath or behind the zone, and I thought our guys did a really nice job, but just not allowing them to sneak in behind or allow anything really on the interior of our defense. So, again, I think he did a great job making shots. I thought as the game along, we paid more attention to him, but overall I thought our kids did a pretty good job.
You look at a guy like Junior KJ Walton. He struggled a bit in this one. I mean, he was only 4 or 14 from the field. but you got solid contributions from other guys like senior Trevor Lucas. How big was he in the winning effort?
Well, I thought, Trev had struggled in the game prior to that. And just, I think he felt antsy, and we talked all week, is just really focus and concentrate on your defense, your rebounding, being involved, stay focused on just playing the game, and the shots will start dropping for you. He did a phenomenal job rebounding. I think he and KJ led us in rebounding with 8 and 9 rebounds apiece, and again, just he got really active, and then the ball started dropping for him. I think his first 2 or 3 shots were off of offensive rebound putbacks, and again, when you can get your first couple shots to go down, that even though it doesn't change, that rim seems to grow and get bigger, and he got a couple to go in for him early. So again, what I really liked after the game, I was talking to KJ about some of that stuff, and a couple of the guys were like, hey, we won, that's all that matters. And for a team, and again, I hate to keep saying it, but going on their third coach in 3 years, you just wonder how our psyche is. And for them to say that immediately, like a guy had a bad game or a down game or not a game of expectation from himself or our fans or the coaching staff, and the first thing they say is, we won, that's all that matters. We're getting a lot of that vibe from all of our kids. So, again, I think our mind's right, and you're seeing that in terms of how we're playing.
Probably the best game of the year for your team came last Saturday against number 4 ranked Pike, who was 4-0 on the year coming into that game. How big of a statement was this win for the team, Coach?
Well, I don't know if it was it's hard to say if it was a statement or not. I thought our kids had a great opportunity. We just kept preaching opportunity. Every game's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to show what you've learned. It's an opportunity to show what we are. And, I put on the board, it's like, it's an opportunity. And when the game's over, we're not going to come in and yell. We're not going to, we're just going to know you either made the most of your opportunity or we didn't. And, I go, don't come in here and feel bad. And that was about it. And I thought, again, we reminded them at halftime, you have 16 minutes to make the most of your opportunity. And I just felt, and it doesn't always happen, but I just felt like as we're walking out, our guys' minds were right. And as long as you can get a group of high school kids to have their minds right, great things have the potential to happen. And in that game, it did.
When you look at a team like Pike, I mean, they've had outstanding classes before. They produce such athletes as the Teague brothers. Even, they have a Teague brother there now, Taji, I think is his name. I probably really am butchering the pronunciation of it, but they do have another Teague there now. Highly touted freshman Justin Roberts is there. How do you game plan for a team that has so many scoring options like Pike does?
Again, I think our staff's done a great job. Our assistants have really prepared great scouting reports, and we're not overcomplicating it. It's just a matter of, can you contain the basketball? And I even said this during the game and kind of at halftime. It's really easy for me to say we got to stop transition, we got to take away rebounding. We can't allow the ball to be moved easily against our defense. It's easy for me as a coach to come up with these things, but it's harder for the kids to go execute. But I think we really did. We did an outstanding job of not turning the ball over. Had 14 first-half turnovers. They were able to score off those turnovers. In the second half, we have no turnovers. So then we don't turn the ball over, so then they can't score off our miscues. We give them one offensive rebound in the second half after giving them 5 or 6 in the first half. Again, I just felt like our kids have done a phenomenal job of limiting their opportunities, and when you take those opportunities away and you don't give a team a second and third and fourth chance to score the ball, again, I think that weighs on you.
You had the privilege of calling that game, did you not, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see anything in particular that game that stood out to you?
Sure. As usual, Brownsburg's defense. I mean, to me, this team is winning these games with their great defense. They'll switch between a man-to-man and a zone. Darian Ringo puts tremendous pressure on the other guy's point guard. And when you play consistent defense like that and you get your opportunities to score, they've done a fantastic job. And I tell you, when I look back at those 2 games, I almost think the Zionsville game was tougher. Like Coach said, that was a real tough environment. Their fans and their student body were huge, and they're just right on top of you. And that was a tough road challenge. Brownsburg led, I think,